Did you know that ChatGPT has different brains under the hood? And they actually differ quite a lot. There's GPT-4o, O3, O4 mini. Now there's even GPT 4.1, and very few people use all of them. And even fewer people understand the difference between them. Today, I'll show you a real-life example of how I personally use them and which ones I use myself. I need to plan an evening for tomorrow, an evening for 5 to 6 hours, including a walk and a restaurant. I'll show you, with an example, how the O3 and 4o models behave in radically different ways. And then I'll explain what the difference between them is. So, let's get started. I have a request. Take a look. I'm asking to plan an evening for me tomorrow for about 6 hours to spend the evening in the Central Cascais region. That's a region here in Portugal. And I say, please take the weather into account. Consider that we want to take a walk and also a restaurant. Also, a trip along the ocean would be nice. Give me some options. And I wrote that we'll be starting around 5 in the evening. And the same thing, this is for the O3 model, and the same for the 4o model. Now let's see what the difference is. The first difference you'll notice is the time it takes to process the request. So, here's the O3 model. The first response took almost 4 minutes, whereas the 4o model gave me the result almost instantly, literally in about 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. Now let's look further at the difference, in what form and what exactly the O3 model presents to me. It tells me, here's the weather you need to take into account. It really highlighted for me that tomorrow will be very hot, and I need to keep that in mind, literally, extreme high temperature. It also showed me a table with an hourly breakdown of the temperature. Then it started to build out the options for me just as I asked. You saw, I asked it to give me a few options. And here it gives me a summary of the options, and then breaks down each option by the hour, detailing what is suggested to do and where. Now let's see what 4o does. This model also wrote out an hourly schedule for me, but it only gave me one option, even though I asked for several, right? I asked, give me some options. This model also mentioned high temperatures. Tomorrow it won't be as high as this model wrote, but okay. And there's also an hourly plan for the day. It gave me some alternative options, but that's not enough, right? Now let's see. Let's go back to the O3 model. Here's the first option described in detail and the reason why you should choose this option. Here's the second option described in detail, also with an explanation of why this option is recommended. And the third option is also broken down by the hour and the reason for it. Then, at the end, the O3 model gives practical recommendations regarding the temperature, transportation, and reservations, since it will be on a Friday, and what and how to prepare for this trip. It also provides examples of possible expenses related to this trip. Next, I read through all these options, and look what I do. I say, okay, I like option 1, but I know this region, and I know that in option 1, let's see, in option 1 it suggested a restaurant on the ocean front to watch the sunset. And since I know the location, I'll show you where it is right now. Here's the location. And so it suggested this restaurant to me, but the sunset will be over here from this side. So, on the map, you can see that this restaurant and its terrace will most likely face south, southwest. So I keep talking to it and say, I like option 1, but I ask, why did you choose this particular restaurant? The location doesn't allow you to watch the sunset. I asked the same thing to Model 4o, why did you choose the restaurant? It also, by the way, suggested this restaurant to me. Let's take a look. It suggested the same restaurant to me, and I also asked it, why did you choose that one?
Let's see what 4o offers.
Me in response to my question about why this restaurant was chosen. And 4o explains that the restaurant is fine and it's set up in such a way that, in principle, you can see the sunset. But here are some options with a direct view of the sunset. Here are a few other alternatives for you. Now let's compare that to what the O3 model answers to this question. The O3 model analyzed the orientation in detail with respect to the sun and the cardinal directions. See, it even wrote to me in degrees, specifying exactly how it's oriented. And it told me that from April to mid-August, the sun sets in this orientation as well. You see, it sets within this range of degrees. And it explains that I chose this restaurant because it's located by a window that lets you watch the sunset. It also explains to me that the terrace of this restaurant is built in such a way that all the tables are arranged with a view of the sunset. That's it. And a couple more reasons, right? Also, some other details. And so, after explaining all this to me, it still says, I recommend this restaurant to you. At the end, I ask, let's find some other options besides this restaurant. And the O3 model found and explained in quite some detail what other options there are. Some details about the vibe, especially regarding the sunset. It showed me what I needed to do about reservations, how far in advance I should book, and gave me approximate prices. I compared prices between these restaurants. Now, the 4o model. I asked, and the 4o model basically gave me some options, but as you can see, the level of detail can't be compared to what the O3 model provided. Now let's draw a conclusion. The O3 model will help you with deep analytical tasks when you need to do a detailed analysis, take into account a lot of details, a lot of parameters in order to make the right decision. But of course, this takes time, and with the O3 model, you need to interact for a long time, longer. But you saw the example, right? Just how much more detailed and accurate the results from the O3 model are. The 4o model is more versatile and designed for more general tasks. When you need to get an answer to your question quickly, when you need to generate some text fast without detailed analysis, the 4o model is perfect for you. So, if you want to get the most out of using ChatGPT, you need to choose the right model for each task. Subscribe and I'll show you even more real-life examples of how to get the most out of your AI tools. See you next time.